Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. It is time to do my June TBR. I'm pushing it really close. June starts on Saturday. It is currently Thursday. Yikes. It's just been a busy last couple of weeks, and it's going to continue to be busy into the month of June. Before I get into June's TBR though, I do want to wrap up May and the 5 books that I chose from Flip and Roll in May. And I'm very pleased to tell you that I read all of them almost, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the first roll was for a 5-star prediction / free choice, and I picked The Women by Kristen Hanna, and I did read that. The second one was a Christmas book exchange cart, and I chose the spinner wheel or random number generator picked Shiner by Amy Jo Burns, and I did read that. The third roll was for a NetGalley, and it chose Last Word to the Wise, which is the sequel to Dead in Gondola. I did read Dead in Gondola, and I'm about 50% into Last Word to the Wise. I just have to wait for my Spotify to renew so that I can get more hours, and I will finish Last Word to the Wise potentially before the end of the month. I forget when it's going to renew, either today or tomorrow. Then I got another NetGalley, and I had to use a prompt, and it was for out of my comfort zone or not my favorite genre or something like that. So Murder Road is a paranormal, slightly horror, slightly thriller, and I read that by Simone St. James, and I loved it. And then the final roll was for a book of the month, and I had to use a spinner wheel, and it chose Hang the Moon by Jeanette Walls, and I did read that. I don't know when the last time is that I've completed a TBR. Even though I'm only picking 5 books each month, I just don't always get to all of them. So I'm really pleased about how May went as far as reading goes. June's going to be a little trickier. I do have my memorial service for my brother at the end of the month, so I'll be going up to New York for a few days. On the 29th of June, I leave to go to Nicaragua for a week. So everything at the end of the month is a little bit crazy as I have to pack and prepare for all of those things. I'm not expecting to have as much reading time as I normally do, but I'm still going to fill my regular TBR. I'm going to still do Flip and Roll 5 times. I have 2 books for Patreon, actually 4 books for Patreon, because I'm crazy like that. And so I'll start with the ones that I definitely plan on getting to, and then we'll do Flip and Roll at the end of this video. So I have 2 book club picks for Patreon for the month of June because I'm insane and because the poll was just so close with these 2 books. I'm going to be reading both of these, and our discussion this month, instead of being at the end of the month, is on the 16th. So these 2 books are getting read very early on in the month of June. And the first one I'm so excited for is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I'm hoping to do kind of a Sando summer. I was going to make a post. I might still do that. Time has just kind of gotten away from me. If you would like to join in, the goal is to read 1 Sanderson book each month of the summer, or to read Sanderson throughout the summer. So whether you pick up one of his longer ones that takes you a little longer, or if you choose one of the shorter ones like Tress, which is a standalone, maybe that's an option for you. But the goal for me is to read a Sanderson each month of the summer. I know there are a couple other groups who are doing read-alongs of different series that he has. Someone's doing a Mistborn read-along, someone's doing Stormlight Archive read-along, so you can hop in on those if you wanted to. But for my Patreon, we're reading Tress of the Emerald Sea. I'm very excited. This is a standalone fantasy. Like I said, we follow Tress, who is a collector of cups. Something happens to people in her family, I think father and brother possibly, and she has to go out into the seas to go on this adventure and try to track them down. But the sea is deadly, I believe, and could kill her possibly. I'm not exactly sure about it, but I have heard that it has vibes of The Princess Bride, which I'm totally down for. Some of that comedic elements. I'm hoping for the romance that's in there. I'm hoping for, yeah, just a little bit quirky, I think. I'm hoping for all of those things with Tress. We shall see. The other Patreon book club book for this month is a historical fiction, which I love, by an author that I've read and loved before, Diane Chamberlain. And this is one of her latest, or it is still her latest book. I don't know if a new one has come out since this. I don't think so. This one is going to follow 2 different timelines, not super far apart, 1965 and 2010. So an older woman in the current day timeline, the more current day 2010, is a young woman in 1965. It's going to deal with civil rights and the time period of kind of helping Black people to have the right to vote, and a woman who gets involved with that. And then as she's older, I'm not really sure exactly what else, but I have heard really good things about it, and I'm very eager to read another Diane Timberlane. So I'm thrilled, very, very thrilled that these are the 2 books for my Patreon book club this month. And then every month I choose some books from my patron recommendations. And I chose 2 this month because as I was listening to all the recommendations, they all sounded so good. So I chose 2 out of the cup. And unfortunately, I can't find this one. I do own it. I feel like I must have pulled it out off the shelf. It's one of my book of the month books. I just don't know where it is at the moment. And that is Independence by Chitra Divakaruni, I believe. And this is going to be set in India and follow some women in India. I'm not exactly sure the storyline, but I'm really excited about it. It is one of my book of the month, and I'm always happy to get some of those off the shelf. It's also not very long, so I'm excited that that was one of my picks. And the other patron pick that I have for June is called Wild Hope by Donna Ashworth, and this is a book of poetry. My friend Lee, who put it in the cup, she has had a loss in her family recently as well, and she said that this book really was very meaningful to her, this collection of poetry, and so I was very thrilled to get this one as well. The last thing to do before starting Flip and Roll is to pick a book from my 12 books to read in 2024. I only have 7 left on the pile, and I'm just going to pick one of these pieces of paper in here. They're all kind of mixed up together, squished together. So I have one of these. Harry's Trees is probably the longest of them all. I don't want to do that one in June. All right, I really don't want Harry's Trees, so I'm going to pick another one. And we've got, let's see. Okay, House at Tyneford. I don't know that I really want this one either, but it's shorter than Harry's Trees, and I don't think it deals with grief like Harry's Trees does. And when I have Wild Hope already on the pile that I think is going to make me cry a lot, and I already have Jordan's Service, I don't know that I want to dive into like some of the heavier books that are options. Okay, so this is the one. It's not super long. It's going to be historical, kind of like Downton Abbey vibes I get from this one. Yeah, fans of Downton Abbey and The Forgotten Garden will absolutely adore House at Tyneford. Kristen Hanna blurbed that, so I love that blurb. Spring of 1938, it's no longer safe to be a Jew in Vienna. 19-year-old Elise leaves her glittering life of parties and champagne to become a parlor maid in England. She arrives at Tyneford, the great house on the bay where servants polish silver and serve drinks on the lawn, but war is coming and the world is changing. When the master of Tyneford's young son, Kit, returns home, he and Elise strike up an unlikely upstairs-downstairs friendship that will transform Tyneford and Elise forever. So a little bit of romance, World War II. I feel like this is a better fit for what I'm looking for right now, I guess. So we'll see. I ended up DNFing my pick from May. So hopefully I like that one. I'm putting Harry's Trees back in the bag for another month, just not June. Okay, now it's time to flip a coin and roll some dice. Here's my game. I'm going to roll the die 5 times. I actually liked last month when I flipped each time. So I'm going to roll first. Depending on what I get, I will choose one of those, or well, the category will be picked for me. And then I will flip a coin to see if I'm going to get to use my prompt jar or if I will spin a spinner. So the first roll is, I need to get a better coin roll thing as well. I have a 2, and that is Book of the Month. Fun. I've got a lot of Book of the Month to read. So I'm going to go ahead and flip a coin. And it is Tails, which is a spinner. That's fine. The spinner wheels actually have been pretty kind to me so far this year. We're halfway through the month, almost halfway through the year. So let me go ahead and pull up my Book of the Month spinner wheel. Here's my spinner wheel for Book of the Month. I should change the background to not make it be winter anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and spin this. If it gets Independence, I won't read that because I mean, I've already got that on there. Okay. Ready Player 2. Have I unhauled that? Nope, it's still up there. I'll get it. Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. I'm not thrilled about this one. Honestly, I feel like I may end up DNFing this. And if I go in with that attitude, I probably will. But this is one I've debated getting off the shelf and just DNFing anyway and just unhauling. Not DNFing, but just unhauling it. I've not heard great things about this. I did really enjoy Ready Player One. I didn't feel that it needed a sequel, so I'm not even sure what this is about, and I'm not going to look into it right now, but this is roll number 1, Ready Player 2. If nothing else, it will get it off my shelves because I'll give it a try. I might go chapter or 2, 50 pages, something. I'll give it a try and see, but I'm not confident I'm going to read this whole book. Okay, that's roll number 1. Let's go ahead and roll again for roll number 2. And it's a 5, which is series. Let's see if I'm going to get tails or heads again. I don't know what I normally started on. It's on tails. Maybe that will make a difference. I don't know. It does flip. Here we go. Okay, heads. So I get to pick a prompt for a book in a series. Let me pull up my list, first of all, because of course I have a spreadsheet for series so that I can see what some of my options are. And I'm gonna pick a prompt. These are all prompts my patrons gave to me at the beginning of the year. Oldest book on my shelves. Okay. Old as in when it was written, or old as in I've had it for a long time? Let me get a couple options and I'll think about that. Oh my word, friends. I paused my recording to go get the books and I forgot to come back and push it. And I've been talking and talking, did a whole nother roll, and it's not recorded. So we're backing up. We're backing up. I went to go get books and I had chosen a couple series books from my middle grade shelf and one that's not. And then I looked at the publication dates, and the one that's the oldest on my shelves is Miss Bunkle Married. I'm not going to go back and show you even the other ones because it doesn't matter. This is the one that I'm picking. This came out in 1936. It's wonderful because it will count as a classic for Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia from her summer book bingo, which I like to participate in every year. I really, really enjoyed Miss Bunkle's book, which is the first in this series. It's a kind of book that I just smile all the way through. It just brings me a lot of joy. Miss Bunkle is quite a character. In the first book, she needs some money, so she decides to write a book, and she uses the people in her town as inspiration for her characters. But it's not very subtle inspiration. It's like straight on. It's very easy to tell who is who in her books. But then some things from her book start happening in real life. So it's kind of like, did she have a sixth sense about things? How did she know? Very cute and lovely first book in the series. So I'm excited to continue Miss Bunkle's story with this one. Miss Bunkle Married by D.E. Stevenson. This is for roll number 2. I'm just going to re-roll number 3 because, I mean, the other one doesn't count. I didn't want to read it anyway. So we're just going to re-roll because it didn't get filmed. If it didn't get filmed, it didn't happen. All right, we've got a 6, which is free choice, which I love. I'm not going to put a book here. Well, you know what? I'll put Tress so that I'm sure to read it. I'm already planning on reading this one. That will be my free choice / 5-star prediction, which is for roll number 6. So, I don't have a wheel. And I'm not using I'm just going to not do a prompt for that one. I've got to move quick. Guys, I have to leave for work in 14 minutes. So roll number 4, here we go. We'll just pretend roll number 3 is what it is. Number 1, Neck Alley. Am I going to have a prompt and a little choice, or is the spinner wheel going to do it for me? Let's see. I kind of want prompts. Oh, yes. I'm just going with that. It landed on heads. I'm going with that. My game, my rules, right? Okay, so we're going to pick a prompt, and then I'm going to choose book from my Neck Alley that will fulfill the prompt. I'm going way down in to pick Christian themed, any genre. Ooh, wonderful. Do I have any Christian books on my Neck Alley? Let me see. I'm pretty sure I do. The one that I'm thinking that I want to do comes out in July. I'm choosing The Summer of Yes by Courtney Walsh. It's published by Thomas Nelson, who I'm pretty sure is a Christian publisher. Possibly they also do clean fiction or fiction that doesn't have like swearing or gratuitous sex or anything like that. Perfect for fans of Denise Hunter and Rachel Linden, who I think both of them are Christian fiction authors. This is going to be a road trip story, it looks like. They're driving in a car on the cover. Sometimes you're so busy writing other people's stories that you lose the plot of your own. Was not how Kelsey Worthington's day was supposed to go. She wasn't supposed to be picking up Starbucks for her smarmy boss. She wasn't supposed to get hit by a car that jumped the curb. And she certainly wasn't supposed to wake up in a hospital room next to Georgina Tate, the legendary matriarch of New York City businesswomen. Kelsey and Georgina couldn't be more opposite. Kelsey's a dreamer, a writer who questions her own skill, and Georgina is a confident businesswoman whose years of shouldering her way into boardrooms and making her voice heard have made her far too outspoken for the faint of heart. But now, when Georgina's failing kidneys force her to face some big regrets about the way she's lived her life, the two women recognize they share a common thread. Maybe it's time to confront a few things. They must ask themselves, what if I said yes to everything I've always said no to? When Georgina and her companion Kelsey soon find herself doing things she'd never done before, eating street food, swimming in the ocean, matchmaking for Georgina with the help of her handsome son, and writing her own romance, both in book form and in real life. So begins the summer of yes. So it sounds like Yes Day, that movie. Sounds like The Year of Yes by Shonda somebody, I think. I don't know if it's going to have faith elements woven in, but I do think it will have some Christian themes in there, or at least be a very clean read, like a very sweet read. I am going to count it. And it's on my neck alley, and it comes out in July. That means I'll read it a little early and let you know, which I always like when I get to do that, because I'm not very good at that. And so let's go ahead and roll for the fifth option. Here we go. For the fifth one, we've got a 3. 3 is my book exchange cart. I have a whole cart of books here. Let's see if I'm going to just have a prompt, or am I going to spin a wheel? I get another prompt. Oh, I'm kind of excited. Last month was mostly spinners. This month is mostly prompts. Let's see what this one is. A translated book. I don't know if any of these are translated. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to pick another prompt. Honestly, I don't have a clue if these were translated or not, and I don't have the time right now to go through book by book to see. I'm pretty sure I don't have any on here that were translated. So let's just pick another prompt. We've got newest book. Okay, so one that was sent to me this past year. I don't know which one is going to be the newest, but I have 2 that stand out to me as ones that I'm kind of really interested in. The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson and The Minuscule Mansion of Myra Malone. Those 2 stand out to me the most of my ones that were just sent to me. So let's see which one is newer of these 2. This is a 2023 release, and The Lost Ticket was 2022. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one, The Minuscule Mansion of Myra Malone, onto my pile as one of my newest book on my book exchange cart. Here are my 5 books. Well, here are my 4 books plus my neck alley that I'm going to be reading for Flip and Roll in June, hopefully. Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline for, I think that was book of the month. Miss Bunkle Married is for oldest on my shelves. Tress of the Emerald Sea is a kind of free choice 5-star prediction. I picked Summer of Yes from my neck alley and The Minuscule Mansion of Myra Malone by Audrey Burgess for my besties Christmas book exchange. I have my House at Tyneford for 2012 and 2024, my other Patreon book, Last House on the Street, The Book of Poetry, Wild Hope, and Independence for my patron picks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. That's probably not, well, you know what? It's very possible that that could happen this month. Anyways, that's my pile of possibilities for June. I would love to chat with you in the comments below. What are you most excited to read in June? Have you read any of these that ended up on my pile? Let's chat about your June TBR in the comments below. I love talking with you down there. Thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me. And I need to go to work like now. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.